Now let's look at multidimensional lists. So what is a multidimensional list? A multidimensional list is a list containing other lists. So typically, if we want to define a list, we can have something like norms. We'll provide a square bracket. Inside of the square bracket, we'll provide the elements or the values that make up the list. We can have something like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this is a one-dimensional list. We can as well have a multi-dimensional list, which is a list containing other lists. We can have 2-dimensional, 3-dimensional, and so on. So let's create a 2-dimensional list. This is a list containing 2 lists. So we can have something like our square bracket. Inside of the square bracket, I'm going to have a list. I can have something like 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I can provide another list. So I'm going to put a comma, then provide a square bracket. Here I can have something like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is a typical example of a multi-dimensional list. Now let me go ahead and print out this list. So here we have print norms. Then if we run the program, you can see this is our list. So this is a list containing 2 lists. This is the first list and this is the second list. Now, let's look at how we can access elements in our multi-dimensional lists. If you look at this list contains 2 elements. So this is the first element and this is the second element. So if I have something like result is equal to norms, then I provide a square bracket and provide the index. If I have something like 0, this is going to fetch me this list. In as much as this list contains its own element, this list is simply an item or an element inside of the parent list. So let me print out the result. So here I have print result. If I run this program, it is going to display the first element inside of the parent list, which is this. If I change this to 1, this is going to fetch me the second element, which is this. Now, if I want to get any element from this list, I'll simply provide the index or the position of the element. If I want to get 6, so here I'm going to have a square bracket, then I'm going to be providing the index. And in this case, I'm going to have 1. If I run this program, it is going to give me 6. So what happens is that this first slicing operator is going to fetch this list. Then this second slicing operator is going to fetch me this element. Let's say I want to fetch the value 3. First, I'm going to be providing the position for this list, which is 0. Then I'm going to be providing the index for the value 2. And in this case, we have 1. Now, if I run this program, it is going to fetch me the value 2. Now, if I want to change this value to a different value, first, I'm going to fetch the value, then assign it to a different value. So I'm going to remove the result. Then I will assign this to a new value. So I can have equal to 100. Now let me print out the norms. Here we can have norms. If I run the program, you can see that the value has been updated. Initially we have 2, but after this operation, we updated the value to 100. Likewise, if I want to change this value to a different value, first I'm going to access this list. Then I'll access this value. Then I'll assign it to a new value. So here we can have norms. We'll provide a slicing operator. Here I'm going to be providing the index to fetch this list. So here we have 1. Then we're going to provide another slicing operator, and I'm going to be targeting this element. This element has the position of 4, so I'm going to be writing 4 here. Then I can assign it to a value, 99. Now, if I run this program, you can see that the value has been updated to 99. So this is basically how you work with the multidimensional list. And what we have here is a 2-dimensional list.